George Washington, America's first president and the most powerful Freemason in US history. Washington was initiated into Freemasonry on November 4, 1752, at Fredericksburg Lodge in Virginia. He was 20 years old. Over the next 4 decades, he rose through Masonic ranks while building the nation itself. On September 18, 1793, Washington personally laid the cornerstone of the US Capitol, wearing a Masonic apron, using a silver trowel, in a full Masonic ceremony. He wasn't hiding his membership, he was proud of it. Masonic lodges across the New Republic celebrated him as their most famous brother. But here's what most people don't know. Washington was offered the position of Grand Master of a proposed National Grand Lodge that would unite all American Freemasonry under one banner. He declined, concerned it would concentrate too much power in one office, even a Masonic one. When Washington died in 1799, his funeral included full Masonic rites. Alexandria Lodge No. 22 conducted the ceremony. His Masonic apron, hand-embroidered and gifted by Lafayette's wife, is displayed today at the George Washington Masonic Memorial. Washington wrote in 1798, defending Freemasonry against Illuminati infiltration rumors. I believe, notwithstanding, that none of the lodges in this country are contaminated with the principles ascribed to the Society of the Illuminati. Washington's Masonic membership wasn't secret. It was public, proud, and foundational. The first president understood that Freemasonry represented Enlightenment values, reason, brotherhood, and civic virtue, the same principles the new nation was built on. If Washington embraced Freemasonry publicly, the next founding father faced accusations of belonging to a society he never actually joined. Thomas Jefferson, accused of leading an American Illuminati conspiracy based on zero evidence. In 1798, Reverend Jedediah Morse delivered sermons across New England, claiming the Illuminati had infiltrated America and were plotting to destroy religion and government. Jefferson, then vice president, became a target. His support for the French Revolution made him suspicious to Federalists already terrified of European radicalism. But here's the truth, historians confirm. Jefferson was never a Freemason. He was never Illuminati. No membership records, no lodge attendance, no correspondence connects him to either organization. The accusation was political theater. Federalists attacking Jefferson's Democratic-Republican Party by association with foreign conspiracy. Jefferson himself dismissed the panic. In an 1800 letter, he called the Illuminati scare a great mass of errors and misapprehensions. He noted the actual Bavarian Illuminati had dissolved over a decade earlier, in 1787. Ironically, the man most associated with revolutionary conspiracy theories founded the University of Virginia, wrote the Declaration of Independence, and never joined a single secret society. Jefferson's case proves something important. In American politics, accusing your opponent of secret society membership is older than the republic itself. Sometimes the accusation is fabricated entirely. Unlike Jefferson's fabricated connection, the next president's Masonic membership was confirmed, public, and celebrated during his own inauguration. James Monroe, the 5th president, initiated into Freemasonry during the Revolutionary War itself. Monroe joined Williamsburg Lodge No. 6 in Virginia on November 9, 1775, at just 17 years old. He was initiated while the colonies were actively fighting for independence. Freemasonry and revolution intertwined from the start. Monroe served as an officer in the Continental Army, crossing the Delaware with Washington in 1776. His Masonic brothers included fellow officers who would later become the nation's founding leadership. But here's what connects Monroe to Masonic legacy beyond membership. During his presidency, the era of good feelings saw Freemasonry expand rapidly across America. Lodges multiplied from coast to coast, becoming the era's dominant fraternal network. Monroe never hid his membership. Masonic historical records confirm his lodge attendance was documented publicly, consistent with the era's openness about fraternal affiliation. From a president initiated during Revolution to one who became Freemasonry's highest-ranking leader in his home state. Andrew Jackson, the 7th president, and one of Freemasonry's most powerful leaders in American history. Jackson joined Freemasonry sometime before 1800, initiated at Harmony Lodge No. 1 in Tennessee. Unlike many presidents who joined young lodges quietly, Jackson rose fast. By 1822, he was elected Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Tennessee, the highest Masonic office in the state. Jackson's military career intertwined with his Masonic brotherhood. Many officers who served under him at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815 were fellow Masons. The network extended from lodge rooms to battlefields. But here's what makes Jackson's Masonic identity significant. As president, he faced the anti-Masonic Party, America's first third party, formed specifically to oppose Freemasonry after the mysterious 1826 disappearance of William Morgan, a man who threatened to expose Masonic secrets. Jackson never backed down from his membership, even as the country's first anti-Masonic political movement gained momentum. Jackson's Masonic apron and regalia are preserved today at the Tennessee State Museum, physical proof of a presidency shaped by fraternal brotherhood during America's most anti-Masonic political era. While Jackson defended Freemasonry publicly, the next president carried his membership quietly, as the only man to hold the office without ever marrying. James Buchanan, America's only bachelor president, and a confirmed Freemason since 1816. Buchanan was initiated into Lodge No. 43 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at age 25. He rose to master of his lodge before entering national politics. Buchanan's presidency, 1857 to 1861, is remembered mostly for failing to prevent the Civil War's outbreak. But his Masonic brotherhood remained constant throughout his political career, from congressman to senator to president. But here's what's often overlooked. Buchanan attended Masonic functions even during the Secession crisis, when Southern and Northern lodges began fracturing along the same lines as the nation itself. Freemasonry, built on brotherhood transcending politics, couldn't fully escape the war tearing America apart. Buchanan died in 1868, still a documented Mason. His membership never became controversial, unlike nearly everything else about his presidency. From a president who couldn't prevent a war, to one who charged up a hill in Cuba, carrying his Masonic values into battle. Theodore Roosevelt, Rough Rider, Trust Buster, and a Freemason, initiated the same year he entered New York politics. Roosevelt joined Matanicock Lodge No. 806 in Oyster Bay, New York, in January 1901, just months before becoming president after McKinley's assassination. He was initiated, passed, and raised to Master Mason all within that single year. Roosevelt's Masonic brotherhood coincided with his most famous exploits. The Rough Riders who charged San Juan Hill in 1898 included fellow Masons within their ranks. Brotherhood extended from lodge halls to the battlefield in Cuba. But here's what makes Roosevelt's membership distinct. Unlike presidents who joined young and quiet local lodges, Roosevelt became a national symbol of American vigor, and his Masonic affiliation was publicized as part of that image. Newspapers covered his lodge visits as presidential news. Roosevelt once said of Freemasonry, "It is a potent influence for good citizenship, for the moral and philanthropic improvement of its members, and for the good of the country at large." Roosevelt proved that 20th century Freemasonry wasn't fading. It was adapting, attaching itself to America's most dynamic political figure of the era. From Roosevelt's public lodge visits to a president who reached Freemasonry's highest possible degree while rebuilding a nation in economic ruin. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president who led America through the Great Depression and World War II, and who reached Freemasonry's highest symbolic degree. Roosevelt was initiated into Holland Lodge No. 8 in New York City on October 11, 1911. He rose through the ranks quickly, eventually receiving the 32nd degree in the Scottish Rite, one of the highest honors in Masonic tradition, reserved for members demonstrating exceptional commitment. Roosevelt's presidency, 1933 to 1945, coincided with Freemasonry's peak influence in American life. Membership numbers soared during the New Deal era. Roosevelt himself credited Masonic principles, brotherhood, civic duty, collective responsibility, as philosophically aligned with his vision for rebuilding America. But here's what almost no one knows. The Great Seal of the United States, featuring the pyramid and all-seeing eye, was placed on the $1 bill in 1935 during Roosevelt's presidency. Conspiracy theorists later claimed this proved Masonic or Illuminati control. The truth? Roosevelt, a documented Freemason, personally approved the design. He saw it as patriotic symbolism, not occult messaging. Roosevelt died in office in April 1945. His funeral included Masonic tributes alongside state honors. Brotherhood recognized publicly, even at a president's death. FDR's Masonic identity wasn't hidden speculation. It was documented, celebrated, and directly connected to one of the most conspiracy-theorized symbols in American history. From the president who approved the eye on the dollar bill, to the last Freemason to occupy the Oval Office, before a different secret society took over. Harry Truman, the last Freemason president, and the highest-ranking Mason to ever hold the office. Truman was initiated into Belton Lodge No. 450 in Missouri on February 9, 1909. Unlike presidents who joined and drifted away, Truman remained deeply active throughout his life, rising to Grand Master of Missouri Freemasonry in 1940, before he'd even become a senator. Truman's Masonic career reached extraordinary heights. In 1945, the same year he became president after Roosevelt's death, he was crowned Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rites Southern Jurisdiction, effectively the highest Masonic authority in half the country. But here's what makes Truman unique among presidential Masons. He didn't just hold membership, he actively presided over Masonic ceremonies while serving as president, wearing full regalia, conducting rituals for other members. No other president merged the two roles so completely. Truman once said, "I have always been proud of my Masonic heritage, and since becoming president, it has been my privilege to receive high honorary rank in Masonic bodies." Truman's presidency, 1945 to 1953, marked the end of an era. After him, no president would hold confirmed Freemason membership. The torch passed to a different kind of secret society entirely. For nearly 2 centuries, Freemasonry connected American presidents through open brotherhood. Then, everything changed, with a windowless tomb at Yale University. George H.W. Bush, CIA Director, Vice President, President, and Skull and Bones member since his senior year at Yale. Bush was tapped for Skull and Bones in 1948, joining the exclusive 15 selected that year. He entered the tomb, the windowless stone building on Yale's campus, for initiation rituals kept secret for over 7 decades. Bush's career trajectory reads like a bonesman's ideal path. Congressman, ambassador to the United Nations, director of the CIA in 1976, vice president under Reagan for 8 years, then president himself in 1989. But here's what separates Bush's secrecy from every Freemason before him. Unlike Washington's public Masonic apron or Truman's ceremonial regalia, Bush never publicly discussed Skull and Bones rituals, membership details, or lodge activities. When journalists asked, he deflected. The society's core rule, total silence, held even at the presidential level. Bush's son, George W. Bush, would follow him into both Yale and Skull and Bones 2 decades later, making them the only father-son pair to share membership in the same secret society, while both later becoming president. Critics note the pattern. Bush appointed numerous Yale connections and Bonesmen to government positions throughout his career. Supporters call it natural networking among accomplished graduates. Either way, the documented overlap between Skull and Bones membership and federal power reached its peak during Bush's presidency. 20 years after his father's initiation, another Bush entered the tomb, setting up an election where 2 Bonesmen would face each other for the presidency. George W. Bush, the second Bush president, tapped for Skull and Bones in 1968, and the center of the strangest presidential election in modern history. Bush entered Yale, following his father's exact path. In 1967, he was tapped for Skull and Bones, joining the order's 15 selected seniors. He underwent the same secret initiation rituals inside the tomb that his father completed 20 years earlier. Bush's political career culminated in the presidency starting in 2001. But here's the detail that shocked political observers in 2004. His opponent in that year's election, Senator John Kerry, was also a confirmed Skull and Bones member, tapped in 1966, just 1 year before Bush. 2 presidential candidates. Same secret society. Same windowless tomb. Same sworn silence. When reporters pressed both candidates during the campaign, their answers were nearly identical. Bush said, "It's so secret we can't talk about it." Kerry gave nearly the same non-answer. Neither candidate would confirm ritual details, membership numbers, or society activities, even while running against each other for the most powerful office on Earth. But here's what this proves about Skull and Bones today. Unlike Freemasonry's public pride throughout the 1700s and 1800s, modern secret societies among America's elite operate on absolute discretion, regardless of political rivalry. Bush and Kerry disagreed on nearly every policy issue. On Skull and Bones, they agreed completely. Never discuss it. Bush's presidency marked the 3rd Skull and Bones member to reach the Oval Office, following William Howard Taft and his own father, cementing the Yale Society's unmatched track record of producing American presidents. Remember those questions? George Washington performed full Masonic rituals laying the Capitol's cornerstone in 1793. Proud, public, documented. And in 2004, Bush and Kerry faced each other for president, while both remaining silent Skull and Bones brothers. 14 presidents, 2 secret societies, 1 truth. American power has always run through brotherhoods most citizens never see. The difference is simple. Freemasons wore their aprons proudly. Bonesmen took an oath of silence, even against each other. Don't forget to like and subscribe.